Just like, I was saying to Courtney, when I'm teaching, and you want the kids to talk to each other for a little bit, and they just like silently stare at you, and it's really So our main topic for the presentation tonight is the history of Millbrook Rotary. So we'll get to that in a couple minutes. But before we do that, we just wanted to take a couple minutes and honor David Greenwood, all his years of service as village historian, town historian, and I realized as I moved over here that I'm now blocking the slideshow. More interesting than what I have to say. I think one thing that really comes through just looking at these pictures from the last 25, 30 years, all the things David has been involved in. Right? The Museum in the Streets might be the most enduring legacy because that's going to be here forever. But God, every aspect of Millbrook history, right? Some connections to David and to Ned. And Gary Safari, right? Town supervisor. You want to come up and
sure.
talk here?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces. Nice to see everybody. Yes, tonight is a special night. David and I go back a long, long way, and done a lot, collaborated on a lot of good things back probably in the mid-'80s, I would say. Am I right? When I was mayor, and
Only yesterday.
What's that?
Only yesterday.
Only yesterday, right? All good memories, though. So I just want to share tonight just a little something that, it just shows how appreciative we are for what he's done for us all these years. And got big shoes to fill. And as you know, Peter Devers is taking over. And we're very confident that Peter's going to do a great job. And he's looking forward to it. And he's enjoying it up to this point. So thanks, Peter, for jumping in and carrying the torch. So anyway, we have a proclamation. Whereas David Greenwood is an architectural historian, lecturer, educator, and illustrator. David grew up in Carmel, New York, and moved to Millbrook in 1984. This isn't right, you let me know. Right? Whereas Mr. Greenwood was appointed Village of Millbrook historian in 1987 and Town of Washington historian in 2000. He also served as the former historian for St. Peter's Church in Lithgow. In 2004, Mr. Greenwood joined the art faculty of the Millbrook School where he taught for 7 years. So far, we're good. Whereas Mr. Greenwood is a member and former chair of the Town of Washington Conservation Advisory Commission, he has produced 28 annual historic calendars underwritten by the Bank of Millbrook, for which he was awarded the Edmund J. Winslow Local Government Historian Award for Excellence in 2022. And whereas Mr. Greenwood is a member of the Millbrook Rotary Club, David, along with his wife Nan, serve as inbound chairs for the Rotary's Youth Exchange Program, bringing international students to live with local families and attend area high schools for the academic year. Now be it proclaimed that today, May 16, 2024, be declared David Greenwood Day in the Town of Washington. I'd like you to have it. And I just have to say it's been a pleasure.
It's always my pleasure working with the community, and especially to have people willing to listen to me when I talk. That's the blessing of any historian, any teacher. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And let's give Peter a hand too. Peter's got
Yes. And thank you all. I tried very hard to keep a secret that anything was going to happen.
Yeah, Dan had to supply almost all the photos for the slideshow. Just on a personal note, I know I said this, I think last year when we had a program honoring David and Nan. I live right across the street from them. And when I moved into that house, 15 years ago, first people that I met in the neighborhood, right, were David and Nan, who invited me over to dinner at their house, right? Total stranger, just, moved in across the street, had me over for dinner. I would not be involved in the Historical Society, right, if not for them. And I think that's true of probably a lot of people in this community, right? Because it's not just that David knows so much about Millbrook history and, has tried to share that with people, but he's also helped build kind of a community that cares about local history. And I think that's a really important part of his legacy. I'm going to turn things over to Michelle in just a minute. Before I do that, one quick announcement here. I don't know if people came in this entrance to the library here, but they've done a really great thing in the display case over here where they've brought in artifacts related to Millbrook history, just from community members, right? They put out a call for who's got something interesting related to Millbrook history. And there's a whole bunch of different things, some of them from Jonathan Boyce, one thing I brought in. It's really worth kind of taking a look at, and maybe adding to, right, if more people kind of come forward with things to contribute. All right, I will stop there. I'll turn it over to Michelle, right, who's going to give a history of the last 50 years of the Millbrook Road.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Ladies. Well, hi everyone. I'm so honored to be here. I'm Michelle Del Valle, and I'm the current president of the Millbrook Rotary Club, current and outgoing president as of next month. And so we'll switch over. But over the next 30 to 40 minutes, we will talk about the history of the Millbrook Rotary Club. We'll journey through the founding of our club. We'll talk a little bit about some of the projects. Thank you. Is there a clicker or no, just me?
The arrow keys.
Maybe, yeah. No, one second. Oh, maybe I do need you to.
So
use
your mouse is
lightning
on
speed
that
mouse.
screen. If that
Yeah, oh,
helps.
there you are.
Yeah.
Every time I move my hand, it just goes somewhere else. Oh, I need to look up here. I see where we're going here. Got it. Did it. There we go. Okay, I'm good. All right. So, as I mentioned, we will talk about the founding of the club. We'll talk about milestones and achievements over the last 51 years. And we'll talk about the lasting impact on the community of Millbrook. But before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about organizations like Rotary International. And I just want to make sure, can everyone hear me? I have a little bit of a soft voice, so just double checking for everyone in the back. All right, so I want to talk about, very briefly, the importance of organizations like Rotary International on making a positive impact on communities worldwide, on fostering a culture of service, collaboration, and goodwill. Is this it? No? There. One second. There we go. Nope. No, I love it. Okay. It's very sensitive. That's okay. The arrows didn't work. All right. So, Rotary International was founded with the vision of one man, Paul Harris. He was a Chicago attorney who formed the Rotary Club of Chicago in 1905. With the goal of bringing together professionals, and specifically only male professionals at the time, from diverse backgrounds to exchange ideas, form meaningful lifelong connections, and most importantly, to give back to their communities. Today, Rotary connects 1.4 million members worldwide to form an organization of international scope. all stemming from that initial vision. And a fun fact that I learned, which pretty much everything you'll see tonight I learned within the last few weeks of putting this together, was that the Rotary's logo, that rotary wheel, just simply means meetings rotated at the members' various offices. So, fun fact. Our mission is to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through our fellowship of business professional and community leaders. Our vision statement as an organization is together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And there's a drawing of Paul Harris with that original Rotary logo and the Rotary Club of Chicago. Here's another picture of Paul Harris and a quote that I really liked. Whatever Rotary may mean to us, to the world, it will be known by the results it achieves. And through its global network of clubs, Rotary International has made a significant impact to causes including eradicating polio, providing clean water and sanitation, and supporting education and healthcare initiatives all over the world. And building on that impact, of Rotary's global impact, our local chapter was founded by a group of dedicated community leaders who shared a vision for community spirit and making a positive impact in the Central Dutchess area and beyond. So, our club was originally named the Central Dutchess Rotary Club, and they met at the Cottonwood Restaurant, which was known at the time for its central location. They embarked on a membership drive in 1972, reaching out to professionals who were passionate about service and community involvement. And then they received sponsorship from the Rotary Clubs of Arlington, Hyde Park, and Rhinebeck. And on January 31st, 1973, they officially became a chartered club. The Central Dutchess Club consisted of 28 original members and held its charter presentation on March 10, 1973 at the Elks Club in Poughkeepsie. This is the 1973 membership directory, thanks to the Millbrook Historical Society. And as I was flipping through this book, it listed things like their profession, their spouses, and their hobbies. And I found a new hobby because multiple members, one of their top hobbies was to sit a spell, and I had to Google that. It means to just sit, and I enjoy that hobby as well. The Central Dutchess Club played an important role in expanding Rotary's footprint in the region, paving the way for the establishment of new clubs, like LaGrange and Pleasant Valley in 1978, and then East Fishkill. David Brinkerhoff, who is a charter member of our club and is here with us tonight, helped to shape the club's early years. Dave's leadership and dedication were instrumental in those early success of the Central Dutchess Rotary Club. David was also played a fundamental role in preserving much of our history, and in fact, it was Dave's History of the Millbrook Rotary Club document that gave me a starting point for tonight's presentation. And this is a modern-day map of just a small snapshot of some of the clubs in our area. The different colors mean where they meet, what time of day, and things like that. The territory continued to expand and move into new venues, new clubs. And then, on March 30th, 1988, the Central Dutchess Rotary Club changed its name to the Millbrook Rotary Club. And so pictured here, you'll see, and we'll talk about this a little bit with the youth exchange later, but every club has its own unique flag. So here on the top left, you have the Central Dutchess County's Rotary Club's flag. And then when we changed to the Millbrook Rotary Club, this is our club's flag, although I think it has a different background now, but it's got the icon that is so symbolic to Millbrook. Also some other pictures here, some newspaper article. This is January of 1974. There was a contest with local Millbrook students to design the Rotary banner. And then in 1978, the vice president at the time, Cal Smith and John Kading, who I believe was also a historian here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that I learned that along the way. Here they're at a meeting and they're presenting a check for a new ambulance in Millbrook. And also Dave Brinkerhoff and Brian Bunch at our club's 50th anniversary more recently. So, in Millbrook Rotary's history, there are many standout moments filled with community spirit and service. There are events and several projects many of you have come to know and cherish, but before we get into those, it's important to highlight a key change in Rotary that impacted clubs nationwide and transformed the organization for the better. A quote from Tom Stroop, who's a current member. When I first joined, it was made up of businessmen and professionals, but the club became stronger when it was opened up to a wider range of people, namely women. So I'll walk you through this quick timeline here. Thanks to a California-based Rotary Club's bold legal challenge against Rotary International's gender-based membership policy, a landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling in 1987 declared that Rotary clubs could not exclude women based on gender. This pivotal moment led to a policy change allowing any U.S. club to admit women. The shift towards women's inclusivity not only marked a turning point for Rotary International, but also catalyzed a broader movement across other clubs. So that was in 1987, and then in 1989, Jan Miller, pictured here with Rotarian Bill Alderson at the Farmers Market, becomes the first female member of the Millbrook Rotary Club. Another fun fact about Jan is she was also the Millbrook Rotary Club's and one of Rotary's first female presidents. Then 2 years later, Betty Thirst, who's here with us tonight as well. In 1991, Betty is the second woman to join the Millbrook Rotary Club, and over the years has served as the club's secretary, the chair of the projects committee, among many other impactful roles in our club, and continues with Jan to be active and very important pillars of our club. So now we will shift our attention to some of the projects and initiatives over the years that speak to our club's commitment to service. So community events and fundraisers like the Millbrook Antiques Show. Here is the cover of the 2002 11th Annual Millbrook Antique Show. I shared the inside cover letter from that year's president, Marcus Mello, because I thought it was a lovely introduction to Millbrook, that he invites the attendees to go to the show and after to walk Millbrook, one of the most scenic communities on the East Coast, and to enjoy the show, and when you're finished, enjoy a stroll down Franklin Avenue where you will find more antique shops, and I just really appreciated that. And I also wanted to share this newspaper article. Perhaps someone here might know the exact year, but I couldn't find it. But in past years, the proceeds from the antique show would go to organizations like the Dutchess County SPCA. It would also go to fund our Millbrook High School scholarships, which I'll also talk about. But in this year, the club decided to dedicate the show to the Thorn Renovation Fund, and their goal was to raise up to $20,000 to give to the Thorn renovation. Oops, I missed a slide. Okay. This is one I'm a little bit jealous that I was not around for, but Millbrook Rotary Club also hosted a dinner dance. It was an annual getaway vacation, and in 2002, when this article was written, the club was hosting its 20th annual getaway vacation dinner dance. So I listed a few details because I think it really highlights Millbrook Rotary Club's collaborative spirit and really our aim to support our community in any way we can. So food was catered by Slam and Salmon, tickets were sold at Central Press, the Corner News, and Mr. and Mrs. R's Gift Shop. And the raffle winner of this dinner dance would win 4 nights hotel and airfare to Aruba, Bahamas, or Bermuda, or St. Thomas. And I don't know this as fact, so maybe someone can tell me, but I heard that you had to bring your suitcase packed to the dinner and you would take your flight out after. Is that right?
The limo was right outside.
With a limo outside. This is a swanky club. So the second prize winner would also win 2 round-trip tickets to anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. So this was over 20 years of a dinner dance, including the Millbrook Antique Show. So really incredible. Oops. No, we're going backwards. All right. We also participated through Shelterbox at various events like Jim and Chris Find Home Show, at Community Day, and also Nan and David Greenwood would bring Shelterbox setups into the local schools. So, for many years, David Greenwood, in addition to his other roles within Rotary and within the community, served as our club's Shelterbox liaison. Nan and David, their dedication has encouraged young people to engage in humanitarian efforts and understand the importance of global aid. So here you have the shelter box set up with students here in Red Hook, and also in 2018, David Greenwood presenting a shelter box award for the Millbrook High School Interact Club. And if you don't know about Shelterbox, I won't talk too much about it, but it is an organization that began with one Rotarian in another club and has evolved into its own partner organization, and they provide emergency shelter relief and vital aid to disaster-affected communities in over 100 countries worldwide. It's very impressive. So speaking of global reach, in 2003, through the Franciscan Missionaries of Mary at Cardinal Hayes' home, I'll read this so we don't have to do that too much, but the Millbrook Rotary Club learned of a dire need for wheelchairs at healthcare facilities in Ethiopia, marking the beginning of the wheelchair project. So a few things to note about a Rotary Global project. One is that in order to execute a global project, the U.S. club must partner with an international club or oftentimes with multiple clubs. And two, these projects can often span multiple years. And so this particular project, which began in 2003, faced challenges like communication issues, language barriers, leadership changes within that Ethiopia club, and extensive documentation required for grants. But despite those hurdles, the club persevered. And after much collaboration and dedicated work, in 2007, Millbrook Rotary was able to fulfill the need for 64 wheelchairs at 4 healthcare facilities in Ethiopia. This included 40 wheelchairs for adults and 24 for children. They were distributed to a polio rehabilitation center, a children's home, a leprosy ward, and a healthcare clinic. The total project cost was over $12,000, funded through Millbrook Rotary Club, individual members, grants, and other clubs. The project exemplified Rotary's collaborative spirit, and in the words of Betty Thirst, the united effort of 2 Rotary clubs in different parts of the world made it possible to bring mobility and hope to people with disabilities. These were just 2 of several articles about this project, along with some really amazing pictures, and it was a huge, huge deal. And I think I was looking at this and I was thinking back about in 2003 to 2007, we weren't all living with our phones connected to our hands, and so with the communication issues and to collaborate in order to get 64 wheelchairs to Ethiopia, despite all of those challenges, was a really incredible project for our club to undertake. So further expanding on those humanitarian efforts, a few things to note. In 2006, Rotarian Betty Renner spoke with the Louisiana Rotary Club to gather a list of specific needs as a result of Hurricane Katrina, and partnered with clubs like East Fishkill and Patkill to send a trailer full of supplies to Louisiana for distribution. Then, those beautiful daffodils outside of the Thorn building, that was a project that Rotarian Ted Ratchins and the Millbrook Rotary Club spearheaded to plant 6,000 daffodil bulbs as a living 9/11 memorial that still stands today. Pictured here, an incredible article about Rotarians who volunteered at Nino's restaurant in NYC near Ground Zero to help serve free meals to police, firemen, and relief workers. Jan Miller, Tom and Susie Stroop, Betty Thirst, Molly Olson, just to name a few. Amazing. And I wanted to share this quote from that article here from Betty Renner, is whenever there's a disaster in the world, Rotarians decide in their own way how they're going to help. And I thought that was a beautiful quote to talk about some of these amazing projects. So another key focus for Rotary, or really it's one of our 7 areas of focus, but I think it stood out as a major pillar of the Millbrook Rotary Club, and that's youth service. Over the years, some of our projects have included 3rd grade dictionaries pictured here. We provide books to 8th graders each year, and we also give out 4 Millbrook High School scholarships every year. Here's just a few of 2008 scholarship winners, last year's scholarship winner. And I'll talk to you a little bit about the 4 scholarships that we give out. So one is the Volker R. Mason Award for vocational training. Last year's recipient used it to go towards veterinary technology books. We have the Bill Hasbrook Scholarship, which began in the early 90s. And we have the Gunther Scholarship for Music and the Arts. And I'll tell you another fun fact about the Gunther Scholarship. So in addition to the pledge, our Rotary meetings used to consist of singing. And Mona Staff Gunther, who's here with us tonight, established this scholarship in memory of her late husband, who I would imagine most of you knew, Rotarian Colonel Robert Gunther, who was known to have a great voice and was a member of the Grace Church Choir and led our club in song at most of the meetings. And then lastly, there is the Millbrook High School Scholarship. This is a scholarship that we give to a senior every year, and the senior who receives this exemplifies our motto of service above self. And speaking of service above self, we also sponsor an Interact Club and Junior Interact Club, which are service-based clubs at the Millbrook High School and the middle school. They are able to participate in meaningful, service-oriented projects throughout the school year. Some of their projects have included the Purple Pinky Project, pictured here, which is to fundraise to eradicate polio, and food and coin drives, and organizing local blood drives. So one of our core youth service projects every year is our school supplies project. This began in 2013, and we are able to provide school supplies to students in need at the Millbrook and Weebatuck Central School Districts. So here's a few photos over the years. We partnered with Reardon Briggs Hardware with Mike Flanagan, pictured. These are some of the supplies, and there's Mark Velo with some administrators last year delivering supplies. And now a youth service program that I think needs no introduction, but we'll talk about it for a little bit, is Youth Exchange. Youth Exchange through Rotary is building peace one young person at a time and brings the world to our doorsteps. A few photos here from over the years is one of our Rotarians. Her son attended the Youth Exchange program, and he was giving a presentation on what exchange has done for him. Things like independence, confidence, lifelong friends, connections. Here, last year's inbound student, Bim Bim, was living here from Thailand. And here she is, as we showed our flag. She's trading her Thailand club flag with a Rotary of Millbrook flag to bring home with the former president, AJ Stack. And then Nan and David Greenwood at one of the many, many youth exchange conferences that they've attended over the years. Some more pictures about youth exchange and as well as the group study exchange programs. This is Kara O'Neill, who participated in a group study exchange in Thailand. I found this Living Millbrook cover from 2016 of inbound student Luisa Gonçalves Pereira from Brazil. And then on the bottom right, this is in more recent years, our incoming president, Lynn Granger, hosted a Beyond Borders Bonanza, where a Interact Club in Nepal was able to do a digital exchange with the Millbrook Interact Club and share a little bit about their culture, their traditions, and experience with our Millbrook students. That was in February. This is Martina. She's visiting from Spain. She's living here now, but from Spain this year, and she is our inbound student. Here she is with Elizabeth Vila, her host mother, and this is another inbound student from Denmark with the Rhinebeck Club. Which brings me to a question for everyone here. Are you looking for a mutually rewarding way to open your heart and home this year? Because we are super excited to announce, not in the history, but in the future history of our club, that our inbound student for the 2024-25 school year will be joining us from Brazil, and we are looking for host families. So I'll just quickly plug this. We look for a variety of family structures that are perfect for being host families. Small, big, with children, with many children, or no children. Working families, retired families. We know that real families come in all shapes and sizes, and the goal is to reflect the real family experience. Okay, so one of, to kind of close out the youth service programs that I think is so important, especially today, is RILA. This is our Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. So every year, students apply to be sponsored by the Millbrook Rotary Club to attend RILA. After interviewing with Ellie Savoy, who also is here tonight, and David Greenwood, those chosen participants embark on a transformative leadership journey, refining interpersonal skills, forging connections, and experiencing personal growth. A few other things to note about RILA. We have been sending sophomores from Millbrook High School to RILA since the late 90s. Ellie took over this project from Rotarian Molly Olson over 10 years ago and stays connected with these students before, during, and after the conference. And in the past decade alone, we have sent over 25 students to RILA. These are just a few of the thank you letters that Ellie receives year after year from these students whose lives have been impacted and empowered through their RILA experience. And I really enjoy reading these because it's great to hear in their own words. I loved this one, no matter what the future brings, I intend to bring the spirit of RILA with me. This is dinner with some RILA students. I think this was 2016 or 2018. So, where are we? In Rotary, we have something called the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do, which I will share in a moment. But one of those tests is, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Which brings me to one of our club's most popular events. New Year's Eve Millbrook. For 15 years, Joyce Heaton led the club in organizing New Year's Eve Millbrook, a cherished community event, sponsored by local individuals and businesses and drawing in upwards of 1,500 attendees. It served as a vibrant gathering point, bringing together communities from all over Dutchess County and beyond. It took almost a full year to plan and required the participation of our entire club, not to mention a robust committee of very dedicated individuals, many of whom are here tonight. It featured performances and activities for all ages, and I put just the 2015 and 2016 program to demonstrate how jam-packed the programs were. So many events to go to. And one of the highlights was the button design contest for local children with a $100 prize for the winner. So here are some of the button designs from 2005 to 2017. And the winner of that contest, their design would then go on to be featured as the logo for that year's event. Here is the winner of the 2016 button design contest, Kayla Craytel with David Greenwood, who was the club president at the time. And in continuing that tradition, this last year, we were able to revive a smaller but incredibly memorable and heartwarming New Year's Eve Millbrook, and we look forward to planning this year. So next, I just want to touch on some of the club's efforts that many of you probably drive or walk by every day. The Welcome to Millbrook signs were in dire need of repair, and the club championed, in partnership with the Village of Millbrook, the installation of these gorgeous green and gold Welcome to Millbrook signs, and around the same time, we're helping to refurbish the town monument at Route 343. And so, I know that I mentioned the 4-way test of the things that we think, we say, or do, and so I'll tell you them now. Is it the truth? Will it build good? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And another fun fact that makes Millbrook Rotary Club very unique is that we have added a 5th test. For dramatic effect, it's not coming. Which is, will it be beneficial to the environment? And so over the years, for decades, our club has participated 4 times a year in a Saturday morning road cleanup. So we meet at 8 a.m. in the Reardon Briggs parking lot and clean these gorgeous streets of Millbrook. We are led by Rotarian Tim Buckland and his dog Kenya. And our next cleanup date is June 8th, if anyone would like to join. Or if you'd like to see future dates, they are all listed for the rest of the year at millbrookrotary.org. So shifting gears to another pressing issue. During Jan Miller's most recent presidency in 2021, our club embarked on a multi-year strategic planning process that would seek to address important issues like food insecurity. Some of our key actions since then have included hosting a multi-organizational food panel, including Organizations like Food of Life in Armenia, Northeast Community Center, LaGrange Free Pantry, Food for Folks, and more to better understand and identify key areas of opportunity that the Millbrook Rotary Club might seek to address. Since then, we've been able to increase our giving. We've extended the number of pantries that we're able to support annually. We've participated in service days like this one with these gorgeous sweet potatoes and Lynn at Food of Life in Armenia. And we have also been able to partner with the Millbrook Library to launch the Millbrook Community Refrigerator, which is here. And I also put a picture of a program, a project that wasn't started through Rotary, but started through our incoming president, Lynn Granger, that I just think is so special. I have to give it a few seconds of our time. And tell me if I'm totally wrong, because I'm doing this from memory. But as a teacher, before she retired, but we know that in Millbrook, nobody really retires. Everyone just starts another career. So I'm looking for the next 5 careers of my future. But when Lynn retired from teaching in elementary schools, one of the things that she noticed as a teacher was that there were some students who had really, maybe more elaborate birthday celebrations with the classroom, and then some students who had a different experience. And so her aim was to make sure that everyone felt celebrated and special on their birthday equally. So she would host a monthly birthday, and when she retired, Lynn created a project called the Birthday Bag Project, where she assembles items like birthday candles, cake mix, and icing, and a birthday card, and distributes them to local food pantries. And so we were able to support Lynn's project in a small way with the Kindness Club. So there's Jan Miller on that top left, with the Kindness Club at Alden Place, and they're assembling those birthday bags to give out. So I just wanted to share that because I really love that project. So I would be remiss in not mentioning the key fundraiser every year that enables us to do all of our incredible projects, as well as acting as our way of building goodwill and supporting local business. And that is the Millbrook Rotary Business Directory. For over 20 years, our club has been designing and publishing the only business directory in Millbrook that features businesses and organizations, including a cover highlight of each year, some of which have included Carey Institute, Weathersfield, Innisfree, our local first responders, and then last year's cover, which celebrated 50 years of Millbrook Rotary history. This business directory is distributed widely and totally free of cost across Dutchess County and the northwest corner of Litchfield County in Connecticut. And when you advertise in the business directory, your ad connects you to all of these incredible projects and initiatives that we do in Millbrook Rotary. I have one little slide of our fall mingle, because this is not only our fall event that we hold every year at the Millbrook Winery, but this is our opportunity to connect with the community, to invite people who are possibly interested in learning about Rotary or getting to know people. This is how I joined Rotary. I was invited to the fall mingle. It was, maybe I had lived here for a few weeks, and it was the first time I met people, and I instantly joined the Rotary Club, and here we are. So I wanted to share that picture of the fall mingle. And so before I close out projects and talk to you just a tiny bit about the organizational structure of the club, I want to highlight our most recent service project. So I know I mentioned last year we launched the community refrigerator, and that was on our Global Day of Service through Rotary. So Rotary International holds a Global Day of Service every year in May. This is one day in May, or maybe around the same time, where every club around the world, or most clubs around the world, can do a unique service project on the same or around the same time. Last year, we launched the Millbrook Community Refrigerator, and this year, led by our incoming president, Lynn Granger, we are continuing on our strategic plan. We partnered with the Kindness Club at Alden Place and the Junior Interact Club at the middle school to assemble care bags. These care bags are filled with essential hygiene items like toothpaste, toothbrushes, body wash, things that you can't buy with SNAP or EBT. And the students hand wrote and made beautiful artwork while assembling their bags, and then developing a better understanding of the cost of these everyday items for someone who may be in need. The bags were then delivered to Food for Folks at Lyle Community Church, Food of Life in St. Thomas and Armenia, Northeast Community Center, Stanford Grange Food Pantry, and Vines and Branches at Immaculate Conception. And I'll just share a little video. Those were the thank you cards for us. It's a really cute video. So that closes our projects conversation. I just want to quickly touch on the organization of the Millbrook Rotary Club. So our club operates under a structured organizational framework consisting of an elected board, committees, and members. And our history reflects a transition from a club primarily composed of business professionals to one that embraces a diverse range of individuals, strengthening our impact and reach. To become a member of the Millbrook Rotary Club, individuals must meet certain criteria, such as a commitment to our core values of service, integrity, and fellowship. We meet on the first Wednesday of every month at 12:15 at Lyle Church. We also meet for dinner at the cafe on the last Wednesday of every month, and we have a monthly Zoom business meeting. In our meetings, you may experience a club speaker, like here, Lynn talking about her time in Nepal, or Martina talking about the delicious food of Spain, or an organization, one of the various local organizations that we might work with. So before we close, and get to any questions, I would love to maybe open up the floor to any current Rotarians, past Rotarians that might want to share a little bit about their experience or their impact.